You're listening to WLPN LP, Lumpen Radio 105.5, and this is Wattz Up. Today at Wattz Up, we have the honor of chatting with Alejandro Ayala, radio host of QC on Lumpen Radio, in addition to participating in a series of musical chapters with Worldwide FM. Welcome to Wattz Up, Alex.
Hey, how are you doing? Peace to everybody.
How have you been after a year of quarantine? Mentally, physically, emotionally?
400 plus days of shelter in place. I think my spirits are still strong. I'm lucky to still have good health. But I'm definitely missing people. I'm definitely missing music. Man, and just like simple little things like giving a friend a hug, you know? But other than that, my spirits are strong.
Is there anything that you've done new during this time of quarantine?
Yeah, so actually during the quarantine, I started the show you mentioned, QC Radio on Worldwide FM, which is a online radio station out in London. Unfortunately, I lost some of my jobs because of the pandemic, but also because of the pandemic, I was able to find part-time work with After School Matters. So I started working with young people, and I'm in my third semester with them now, and we are producing online events.
Could you share like a memorable story from the After School Matters experience so far?
You know what? It's been, I've been really lucky to meet a lot of amazing young people. So I guess my favorite memories would be just working and getting to know and to see how professional a lot of young people in the city of Chicago are already. A lot of the young people that I've had the pleasure of working with already come with a certain measure of experience, practical experience in putting events together. And I've been inspired by their spirits and kind of like their willingness to adapt to everything that's changing around them. It's been a great joy to see how young people are hanging tough and rolling with the punches and able to adapt so easily, much more easy than a lot of adults I know. So I take a lot of inspiration from them. So I would say my favorite memories are the time I get to spend with the participants of the program.
What are some ways you had to adapt in terms of event planning or the process?
Well, as you know, as you may know, all the venues in the city shut down because of the pandemic. People aren't allowed to gather inside. So being able to book DJs or to put together shows that would happen inside a space or a venue has completely gone away. So we've had to become creative, right, as a city in order to keep the music going. So last summer, a lot of people adapted and were able to do, shows outside. The boulevards became a place for DJs to play and for people to safely gather. Some parks became stages. For example, my friends Isaiah Collier and Angel Bat Daweed started a weekly series at the Perennial Gardens in Jackson Park. So people got creative, and I was fortunate enough to be able to produce and help produce a couple of events that occurred outside. So basically we had to figure out, how to record outside, how to present outside, and then most importantly, how to keep everyone safe.
How have you seen the quarantine affect artists?
Well, man, the being able to play shows, to sell merchandise, to travel and to do that, night after night is gone for them. So it's like their whole livelihood has essentially vanished. When people are doing stuff online, it's not like you have like a set ticket price, and or whatever the site isn't paying you outright to play. A lot of people are playing for like tips, like they have like PayPals and Venmos going on, but it doesn't guarantee any sort of money for people. So it's their money has been, cut off. So it's actually, from what I've seen, it's been pretty scary for artists in terms of money, and and then the way that they report their income to the government, for example, makes it so that they kind of didn't qualify for help in the same way that people that have office jobs or 9-to-5s or part-times got help right at the beginning. So they, when we started getting our first our checks from the government at the beginning, they were behind us about 3 months in some cases or more. And it was even hairy then. So, man, it's been, I know a lot of artists, started selling gear and started selling records and started selling stuff just to make it, So that's the number one thing that I've seen in a negative way affect artists. The pandemic has affected some artists in a positive way, because they're not traveling, because they're not going out all the time. They have more time to create at home. So I imagine, in the next year or so, we're gonna have a surplus of music, which is beautiful, So the pandemic has affected artists in a both negative and positive way, I'd say.
We've seen a pretty big influx of people getting vaccinated, and the city of Chicago making new guidelines to public events. Where do you see the future of public events, and what do you think are some of the challenges we'll face?
Well, I mean, I look to all the respected and trustworthy news sources I can find. We have some pretty good ones here on Lumpen, but I check WBEZ, NPR, Reuters, AP News, the CDC, and kind of just keep my eyes on the new precautions or new findings as the CDC rolls them out, and I trust in that. It's my understanding that we have to reach a certain threshold, a certain percentage before what they call herd immunity kicks in. So, man, I really don't think we'll be able to gather inside as quickly as everybody thinks. And I think just out of respect and consideration for other people's health, I don't think we should rush that either. I think currently the main concern is to get vaccinated, like you said. We need to reach that percentage, as quickly and as safely as we can. And then we can start talking about how to open back up, because if people aren't safe or healthy or alive even, what do shows matter? We gotta look out for each other first, We gotta take care of each other, and we gotta, make sure everybody's healthy. before we even like start considering like, you know, opening back up. We have the experience already, unfortunately, of going through this last summer. So we know what we have to do to meet safely and do shows outside safely. So I mean, in my mind, I would say we should focus on that for this summer. See where we're at in the fall, and then I think we'll be in a better spot in 2022. So I mean, I really don't have any sort of intention of putting anything together indoors for people. I know it's opened up right now, but also, you know, restaurants and bars opened up, like 4 weeks ago? And it's no coincidence that the numbers have shot up. So I think we just need to be safer, you know, a little bit more cautious. It'll be beautiful when we are able to get back indoors together, though, I'll tell you that.
When you mentioned you were doing weekly shows at the Perennial Gardens, what were some things you were taking into consideration, like health-wise, I guess?
So those were an event put together by Isaiah Collier, Angel Bat-Dawid, Kennedy Banks, Julian Otis, Jeremy Warren. They held it weekly, so they started in July. And they just asked people to come and keep their masks on. And, you know, if people came and had a beverage with them, I noticed people would take their mask off, take a sip, and then cover their face right back up. The Perennial Garden is really wide and like in all directions. It's almost like a big oval shape. So there was plenty of space for people to, you know, stay separate from one another. People came with lawn chairs, people came with picnic blankets, and everybody was spaced out really, really well. I always felt safe there. It's open air, it's by the lake, so, you know, there's a lot of air circulating. And, you know, as we learned from the protests last summer, you know, you could be in a crowd of 20,000 people, and as long as everybody's masked up, you're safe. The numbers didn't jump after all the protests. You noticed numbers jumping when people were going back into restaurants. When people were meeting together in mass without masks, you noticed numbers jumping up. So the lessons we learned last summer were you can meet with people in great numbers outdoors as long as you're masked up. So we just kept that in mind. They kept that in mind. And, you know, thankfully nobody got sick at any of those events.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, we, you know, when I did do the one event with them, you know, I did try to drive the point home that the musicians are coming out not knowing how much money they're going to make, but they're coming out and they're providing us with nourishment. They're providing us with music. And at that point, it was like we were, 5 months being in our own homes, not experiencing the energy exchange between a musician and an audience. So when I first heard it, man, I felt so good hearing the music. Just sitting in silence and listening to musicians play and receiving that energy from them was true nourishment. So what I tried to ask people when they came out to the event I produced with them was to consider how special that is, what a gift that is. And I asked them to treasure our city's talent, because they're giving us a gift and we need to respect them and their health in exchange for what they're giving us. So, yeah, man, just gotta keep, you know, like I said earlier, we gotta look out for each other.
So besides your show QC, what else have you been working on or doing?
I got into, I think everybody's kind of developed like a weird thing during pandemic. My weird thing has been like, I've become like a YouTube person. Like I've been watching YouTube like nonstop. My mind gets totally like, I can't stop thinking about like cameras and film and like photography. That's like become like a major thing in my life. I've bought, since the pandemic started, I've got, what, 3 or 4 new cameras. So it's, you know, kind of out of control, but I can't wait to like go out and shoot. Luckily, I've been planning with the city of Chicago to present a show on August 23rd, so the first day of Virgo season at Millennium Park. So I'm excited to be working on that. The city has some pretty cool plans for doing shows at Millennium Park. They're gonna do like an RSVP system, and they're like cutting like the amount of people that could be there at once pretty sharply, but it'll still be a lot of people that could be there. So I'm very excited about having an opportunity to put together a show at such a beautiful location. But I guess that's been about it, man. Just a radio show, you know, teaching, thinking about cameras. That's it. Eating.
What have you been eating?
Man, that's been a lot. That's the whole other show, man. I just digging through the internet for cool recipes and just trying stuff out. Amazingly though, I think the thing I've eaten the most of during the pandemic is pizza. We've been treating ourselves once a week to be able to eat somewhere, you know, just to like save on money. Like we've been cooking, but we allow ourselves to go out to eat once a week. And typically we choose pizza.
You ever try cooking pizza?
No, I don't trust our oven to do that. It's an old building.
Hey, how'd you get started at Lumpen Radio?
So before the radio station started, they had a call for shows. Edmar and Co-Prosperity Spirit did a yearly art exhibit called Version Fest. And one particular Version Fest, they had a call for people that wanted to do radio shows, and they asked for submissions to have their mix played at Version Fest, and they asked for demos. So I submitted a demo. At the time, I had a show on University of Chicago Radio, WHPK, kind of legendary station here in the Chicago area, especially for hip hop and jazz. I had a show on that, and I really wanted to expand and like do my own sort of thing, because I joined the show I joined was called Chicago is the World. It's a long-running show, but it had a very specific focus, and I kind of wanted to step out of all that and do sort of the ideas I had in mind. So when Lumpen, or it wasn't called Lumpen then, when Version Fest had that call, I ran for it, man. I did it, and then got accepted, thankfully. Shouts to Logan. And then Lumpen started. Lumpen started a co-pro in the Infinity Room. It was just on a picnic table. It was Logan, two turntables, his computer, and a mixer. And it was just on like a plastic table. So we were online only for, I think it was a little over a year. And then Lumpen got their antenna, all their licenses, and then we went on air. So it's been a fun ride with that station.
When working with Worldwide FM or collaborating more, what's a memorable moment you could share?
Man, Worldwide it's such an honor to be able to present the city of Chicago to people in a city that I admire and adore. I love everything about London. I love that city. I mean, they're a very important city for music. I put them on par with Chicago in terms of, innovation, in terms of having a savvy audience, all the people that go out to parties. are like, you know, deep into music. You could, you know, we did an event out in London, and it was what, one cello, one violin, and one harp. That was a trio. You don't think a crowd, you can't, I don't know if you can, but I have a hard time picturing like a crowd being like all into something like that, like swaying and bobbing their heads and just like being all into something like that. But man, they were. Their audiences are incredible. So, you know, when I got the chance to present what we're doing in Chicago to such a beautiful city like London, you know, I was ecstatic to do it. You know, what an incredible opportunity. And worldwide, you know, they just have like world-class DJs and musicians sharing music on there all the time. So it's a great radio station, and it's owned by, you know, someone I'd say is probably the most important DJ on our little blue planet, Giles Peterson. So, you know, we wanted to pull out all the stops, and people are like really excited to present on that platform. So I was lucky enough to be able to link with Dorian's, which is a jazz club here in the city. Since they've been shut down, you know, they haven't done anything with their space, and the owners and the person that booked shows there really wanted to be able to do creative things, and really wanted to like be able to offer things to musicians and DJs during the pandemic. So they allowed us to go in there, use their stage, use their soundboard, record. And I've been able to, thankfully, put together live music, record live music for the radio show on Worldwide. So some of my favorite memories were recording live music for Worldwide, because I mean, I had some of my favorite bands playing, right? And it's just me in the audience. So like I felt ashamed once, because I was like, wow, this is so incredible. This is so cool. And I'm the only one here listening to it, you know? I felt like a little bit of shame, and then like a whole bunch of like, you know, like fanboy. So those, you know, those are definitely my favorite memories, you know, working with Sean and Joe Brill when we were recording people.
Shouts out to Sean and Joe.
Yep.
I have a question. It's kind of out of left field here. Your DJ moniker, King Hippo, is that a reference to Punch Out?
It is. It is. I lived in Japan for years, and that's actually where I started like seriously collecting records, and where I first started putting events together, and where I first DJ'd. So the Japanese people, you know, I'm a little bit bigger than a lot of Japanese people. So some of my friends were kind of smarty pants over there, and I guess my look kind of reminded them, maybe my big mouth and my stomach reminded them of King Hippo. So that's where I got the name. You know, I asked if I could just use my name for the party, Alejandro Ayala, but they didn't think it was that exciting. So King Hippo it was, and King Hippo it stuck.
You set out some records before we started this. Would you mind sharing what they are?
Oh yeah. Well, I took these down because recently I had I was able to DJ for the first time in over a year. So I took these down to take with me. But I got from London actually. It's an album called Bichos. Raúl Monsalve y los Forajidos. I don't know what that means. But beautiful artwork. I'm told that's Raúl there. Very, very great album. on Olindo Records. We got another one from London, I believe, but the music is Brazilian. Oh, this music, by the way, is Venezuelan. Venezuela. This stuff is Brazilian, new Brazilian music. The band is Kiko Denucci, and it's on a label called Mais. This is all of these are some of my favorite albums that came out in 2020. And then of course, from this album's called Couldn't Wait to Tell You by Liv, who's been on QC Radio. Actually, the guys that did the Olindo Records, Olindo's been on QC on Lumpen, and Liv has been on QC on Lumpen as well. She was actually in studio guest. This is her first solo album, double LP, super cool.
Thanks for sharing. It kind of goes into this next question here. What's a song or album that has saved you during 2020?
I guess the song I listened to the most, I have it over my 45. I have another record case. It's got 45s on it. Japanese record. The song is called Sccene. I'm not sure what, it's songs in Japanese. Not sure what they're saying, but I don't know. Something about it just like stuck with me, and I, probably the song I listened to the most last year. Very beautiful song. It's a cover by a very famous Japanese artist, but a friend of mine helped produce the song, the cover, and just, I don't know, very, very beautiful song. Album-wise, what did I listen to the most in 2020? The Kiko Denucci record was definitely one I listened to a lot. The Live record is one I listened to a lot. Bichos I listened to a lot. But probably a lot of cuts off of Kiko Denucci was like a big one for me. But I mean, for my soul, I'd say actually the live sessions at Perennial Gardens, they were called the Royal Sessions. I would say those were like the ones that really saved me. Like just having live music playing in front of you again, and that saved me.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to the conversation?
No, I mean, hey, I'm proud of all young people. You, like I said earlier, the resilience that you're showing is inspiring. But I gotta tell you, if you don't think adults are doing stuff the right way, I want you to take matters into your own hands, and I want you guys to organize, and I want you guys to take care of business for us. I'm here to help. I know a lot of other adults are here to help. We'll support you. If what you're doing comes from the heart and it's just, and you're standing with pride and dignity, I know a ton of adults that are here to help. That's all. Organize and change the world.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Alejandro Ayala, or King Hippo, for coming on the show. And thank you for being a compassionate human being in your field. And thank you for raising the standards that I have set on future event planners that I've come across. It's been a really good conversation.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love this show. You guys are amazing. The show is amazing, man. My partner and I check you guys out Saturdays. It's a great joy, and it's a great pleasure to be here.
This is WLPN LP, Lumpen Radio 105.5 FM. Thanks for listening.
Peace.